Welcome back to the Crotch Roloff Show. I don't know why I'm up so early. It's 6:15 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and I've been up a while. Took a shower. I'm watching this.
We'll treat him with all the proper courtesy.
You ever seen these Star Trek fan series? It's called Star Trek Continues, and it looks just like. I mean, they've recreated the sets. This guy that plays Kirk even looks like Kirk. The guy that plays Scotty is the son of James Doohan that played Scotty in the original series, and then everything's spot on. The music, the lighting, the sets, the acting's good, the writing's good. This is called Star Trek Continues. There's another one that was before this called Star Trek. What was it called? Star Trek New Voyages or Phase 2, I think. And that had a different. That one had an Elvis impersonator playing Kirk. Anyway, this is an Orion slave trader in this episode. See, it even goes. Sometimes they'll even have the following program is brought to you in living color with the NBC Peacock. But see, this is. See, it's the Incredible Hulk, Lou Ferrigno. They got him to play, and they say he got to be painted green again. Anyway, I'm real sleepy this morning. I don't know why I got up this early, but thought I'd do a quick episode. Today is the anniversary of the first time I walked into this house. It was February 11th of last year, and so I think I'm going to, after this episode is finished, I'm going to work on the house some and then film a house tour later today. So I may put up several episodes. Excuse me, I shouldn't have turned that light off. Now I can't see where I'm going. Oh yeah. All right. I don't normally do these episodes so early in the morning. So anyway, welcome back to the Crotch Roloff Show. Well, let's. I think when we were looking at comics last time, we got through House of Mystery, and we were about to look at House of Secrets. And so let's look at the House of Secrets, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa! Okay. Let's get some lighting going. All right. Let's plug the phone in because it doesn't have much charge. Okay. Let's turn this TV lamp on. That will just a little bit of Star Trek lighting. Look at this. That's my mother back in the 1940s. Okay. All right. Yeah, well. Jeez. My knees have really been hurting me the last couple of days. Well, just really yesterday it started. Oh, okay, here we go. Perfect. Okay. When we last left off, I was putting these books in. This Elvira House of Mystery and this new House of Mystery comic. So I need to put some. Okay, this is all Hulk comics. The next book I have to put in is this Infinity Gauntlet book. I'm trying to go through the whole collection, put in these books alphabetically in. Okay, so this is a reprint of the. Boy, that light is bright. Should I move that light back some? Oh, God. I'm wondering if I move this light back some, if it won't be as obnoxious. Let's see how that looks. Okay. Maybe that's a little better. Oh, you like that Batman angle, since you've got a Batman shirt. I always have this Batman shirt on. As I've explained before, wearing this Batman shirt all the time is not an indication of extreme poverty. Although there is a bit of that, to be honest with you. No, when they were selling these at Target a few years ago, every time I went to Target, I'd throw 3 of these shirts into the basket, and my wife thought I was a mental patient for doing that. I said, no, this shirt is great. I always want to have one of these Batman shirts. So I think I probably wound up with 12 of them. So anyway, this is just what I threw on this morning for this in order to watch television. So I got to finish this broadcast, and then they're going to have Saturday morning cartoons on the Group Therapy podcast on YouTube, and then Dr. Silverage. Hopefully he'll be on this morning and with Shannon, and so I'm looking forward to that. My creatures of the night will feast upon the flesh of your corpse. That's a wrestling clock in the other room, ladies and gentlemen. So, House of Secrets. Look at that. How about that? Bernie Wrightson. Is that a wonderful EC look or what? That is House of Secrets number 100, ladies and gentlemen. I have older House of Secrets comics that are in the Silver Age collection in the other room. Here we go. House of Secrets 106. Obviously, I'd like to get 101 through 105. Maybe I will soon, someday. Probably never, but I'd love to get them. But there are no comic book stores here in North Carolina. Ooh, look at this nice Wrightson art. Anyway. So why don't you mail order these comics, Gratu? And I say, because I have no money. Here is House of Secrets 107. How about that? This, ladies and gentlemen, is a childhood copy, and this is my first House of Secrets comic. Those other ones I bought later. That last one had a $6 price tag. I think that comes from a store in Fort Worth, Texas. I think I was showing you these right at the end of the last episode. I remember this panel. And anyway, this ad had a huge impact on me as a child. This Pirates of the Caribbean ad for the model kits, and that model kit I actually bought, and I still have majority of the pieces to it, but these were model kits that moved, and they moved with rubber bands. Anyway, here's the whole collection. Yeah, it's a shame. I was just thinking how Disney has changed. Well, they just laid off, what was it, 7,000 employees, something like that. And the Disney Plus streaming service is going down, losing lots of subscribers. And not only are they ruining all the properties that they own, they're doing remakes, terrible remakes, where they try to, they've gone woke. I hate to use that word, but Anyway, they're morons, and they bought up Marvel Comics, and they ruined those movies. They bought up Star Wars, and well, Star Wars was already ruined. Actually, the Marvel movies had been so good when they bought Star Wars. I thought, well, maybe Disney will fix Star Wars because Lucas had kind of ruined the trajectory of where it was going. uh, Lucas had ruined his own stuff by going back and showing how Darth Vader had become Darth Vader, which and all that stuff. And I thought Disney was really gonna help. It didn't happen. It just didn't happen, ladies and gentlemen. So now, things I love from my childhood: Disney, Star Wars, Marvel comics, all turned into shit by a bunch of idiots. And this was, I remember showing you this last time. This was a gift from Micah, also known as Graphic Man, the founder of the Four Color Fossils show. This was a gift from him, issue 113. It's got all the details on the back. I think that's what I was talking about when the last episode left off. I was showing how they, the professional collectors, look at how the nice plastic he's got this in. And what they do, they've got everything printed or at least handwritten on the back, so they can show a book and say, yes, this is from November of 1973, which you really have to do you have to do some little figuring in your mind. If a comic has November 1973 printed on it, that means it really came out in September of 73. So that means this was on the stands right as the school year was starting for my third grade year. And I can immediately remember what year I was in because I started third grade in 73. I started fourth grade in 74. So it makes it very easy for me to immediately know what grade I was in when something came out. But, and that's kind of cool. Yes. So yeah. Losing my mind, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, number 114. This was a childhood copy. I was just looking at how I maintained copies from third grade. This staple is obviously loose. But people talk about these black covers. It's like hard to find black covers without all the. Well, there's not many spine ticks because I treated my comics right. And he said, well, why isn't it bagged and boarded? Well, it was bagged for many years until I looked at the bag one time about, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe longer, and it was, yeah. So I took it off. I thought maybe this is hurting the comic. And actually, those old ugly bags, they don't really hurt the comics. But at some point, I will buy more bags, and I explain this in every episode as apologizing to all you people out there that think I'm a Philistine for this. But no, it's not. These comics will not forever be unbagged. This just really looks like an EC comic. It's great. And you got the Sergio Aragonis art, and it just everything's great in here. Yeah, so plot number 1, I was looking at that the other day, and it's dated October 73. But I remember buying it right as we were moving from Virginia to San Antonio. And it was like literally the last time I walked in that 7-Eleven, we were like getting my mom's Dodge Dart Swinger car revved up to drive across. We were in a caravan with the 69 Ford Fairlane light blue station wagon and my mom's Dodge Dart Swinger 1972 model, brand new. We were going to travel across to San Antonio, which was my mom's birthplace, my birthplace, because my dad was stationed in San Antonio when I was born, although he was in, I think, not basic training, but My dad went the basic training for the Korean War, but he was in the he was man, what was he doing in '65? Maybe he was at officer training. I don't know what it is. Airborne school. He was off at some school where he had to be told that I had been born, and my mother drove herself to the hospital to give birth to me, and my older brothers, they were left with my grandfather. So that shows what a strong woman my mother was. This is another cover that I've always loved. This is Joe Biden having an ice cream cone. It's chocolate chip. Remember when the reporters was like, "Oh, Mr. Biden, what flavor ice cream are you eating?" "Oh, chocolate chip." And then supposedly 100 zillion people voted for him in a totally honest election. Yeah, and some people actually believe that. But I hear the economy's doing great now, so that's good to hear. Except the problem is, I remember buying comics for 20 cents. Oh well. That was getting off the gold standard, thanks to Henry Kissinger's ideas, and who was, the spiritual, ideological godfather of Klaus Schwab, And then, of course, prices go up drastically whenever there's a Democrat president. I'm sorry, Democratic president. 130. I swear they talk about the butterfly effect or whatever, the Mandela effect, that supposedly things get changed in the timeline, and people say, well, I remember it was they remember things differently. They remember some movie, and it turns out that movie doesn't exist. Well, I remember for sure seeing that movie when I was a kid. Why doesn't this movie exist anymore? Well, it's because the timeline changed. Someone went back in time and, did this or that. But the hell am I even talking about? What was I talking about, man? What was I talking about? Oh my god. I can't fucking something changed that I remember from my childhood. What I was talking about. Oh, that's what it is. I remember when I was a kid, it was the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. But at some point, it's the Democratic Party. And then you go back and you look that up on your computer, and it makes it seem like it's always been the Democratic Party. I don't remember that. I remember they were the Democrats. I guess they're still called Democrats. But this Democratic Party, I remember the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. But we do live in a republic, not a democracy. So they're wrong, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're a Democrat, you're I don't know why you're watching this show. I think I've run all the Democrats away. Although Democrats used to be all right, It didn't used to be that big a deal until the last few years, where the Democrats just went freaking insane and all became a bunch of Satan worshipers. This is 134. And I'm complaining about Satan worshippers, but I'm showing you comics that all have like satanic stuff on the cover. But this is comic books. I don't really want the government to be run by a bunch of evil Satan worshippers. But I don't mind reading about them in comic books. This is 139, House of Secrets. Oh, yes, indeed. So, House of Secrets, 143. Yeah, see, this little kid is summoning a demon. How about that? You get a genuine 45 bullet. Like they would ever do that today. But anyway, it's the world has changed so much, ladies and gentlemen. It's very You know, the comic book today with an ad for a BB gun would never happen. They would be clutching their pearls, all the effeminate morons that create the comics of today. Here's House of Secrets 144. There's nothing wrong with being effeminate if you're a female. Let's see. You can buy land in Florida for $1. I wonder if you do that, if you could vote in Florida. Let's see. For just $1, you can own 1 square inch of. If you, I wonder how much money it would take to buy enough land to build an amusement park at $1 an inch. Let's see, $1 an inch. That would be. I don't know. I'm not good at math. Okay, we're already up to 30 cents. 145. Anyway, those Star Trek fan series, you know, you think, well, how do they get away with that? How do they get away with that? Well, apparently, whoever owns Star Trek these days, Paramount, as long as you don't make any money, they don't mind you making a fan series. But they've changed that recently because they're embarrassed because those fan series are a zillion times better than what they're actually making. The Star Trek, whatever they make now, whatever it's called, Discovery, or, oh, look at this, Star Trek. Wow, how about that, man? I really didn't plan that. These are Star Trek poster magazines that came out in the 70s. Because in the 70s, that's when Star Trek was the most popular. In the 60s, it was kind of a show that there were fans that watched it, but it wound up getting canceled really after the second year, and there was so much fan pressure they brought it back for a third year, which most people consider the third year to be the weakest year of the series. But anyway, so it was canceled and brought back as a cartoon in the 70s. But in the 70s, that's when all the merchandise started hitting, and because it came out in syndication in the 70s, and that's when kind of a lot of new people discovered it. What really killed Star Trek is they changed it to Friday nights, and Friday night was the night people went out on dates and did things. They weren't home watching television for the most part. 151, so that kind of killed it, and that was before VCRs and everything. Ooh, this is kind of interesting. This has a survey inside of it, which I can't read because my eyes are going bad. Which of the following sports activities do you engage in? Do you wear sneakers? Do you wear jeans? Which of the following hobbies or activities do you engage in? Assembling kits, building models. Isn't that the same thing? Assembling kits, building models. Camping, coins, stamps, playing with games, Monopoly, Scrabble, etc. Photography. It's before video games. Isn't that wonderful? Now it'd be, which of the following apps do you stare at the most? TikTok, Instagram. Which of the following items do you own? Instamatic cartridge loading type camera, Polaroid instant type camera, portable radio, record player, cassette cartridge tape recorder or player. Which of the following snack foods have you eaten within the past month? For those who have eaten, please state your favorite brand. Potato chips, cookies, peanuts, pretzels, crackers, peanut butter, blah, blah, blah. Following soft drinks, lemon and lime, cola drink, root beer. They're just trying to find out for advertisers, what they're trying to find out what, so they can go to the advertiser and say, 90% of our readers like chewing gum, so don't you want to advertise your chewing gum in our comic? And that's what they were up to. Interesting. I don't know if that was in every copy of House of Secrets 151. If you've got that, look and see if it's there. I've heard some people don't like those inserts, and they used to pull them out. They used to pull out the Mark Jewelers inserts because it just, but now that's what makes them valuable. Yes, indeed, yes. This artist, look at that. How's that friend name? Talioc. What's your name? My name is Talioc. 154. That's a really cool cover. Okay. Is that the end of my House of Secrets collection? It would appear to be the case. Okay. So, this I obtained from an auction relatively recently. I think I paid about $40 for it. It's something I've always wanted since it came out. When Howard the Duck 1 came out, I believe we moved from San Antonio at the end of 4th grade to Tacoma, Washington, and we were stationed at Fort Monroe? Hold on. San Antonio, my dad was stationed at Fort Sam Houston. When we lived in Virginia, it was maybe that was Fort Monroe. And I went to Merrimack Elementary. It was named after, the Merrimack and the Monitor, the first submarine, kind of proto-submarines that fought in the Civil War. Merrimack, yeah. And then I went to Regency Place Elementary in San Antonio. But what was the damn thing? Why do I have this trouble? My dad was at Madison. What was that damn? I forget what the fort was. I think it might have closed. I think Bill Clinton closed a lot of the forts. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was looking for this comic, but it never was on the stands. And they say it had low distribution, but I think what really happened is comic collectors or comic dealers, comic stores were just starting to become a thing. We're purchasing giant boxes of them to hoard and to turn into collectibles, but because people knew this was going to be something cool when this came out. And anyway, I think I paid $40. It looks like someone marked $130 on it, like they were going to sell it for $130, but I did not pay that. Okay, so, and I wasn't able to find Howard the Duck 2 either, but I bought this early on, probably in the early 80s or, well, maybe late 70s, because we moved from Tacoma, Washington in the summer of 76 to Arlington, Texas, because my dad retired from the Army, and that's why I've been in Texas all these years. I just never left until a year ago when we moved here. And so Lone Star Comics opened, which is now mycomicshop.com, in the summer of 77. And okay, so this is Howard the Duck 3, Master of Quack Fu. I can't remember if I bought this when it was new or if I got it at Lone Star Comics. I can't remember if the first one I bought back then was 3 or 4. I couldn't find the early issues. This one has a 30-cent mark, and this one has 25-cent mark. So I think the 30-cent was a trial run for bringing the price up. The art is wonderful in here. This was just a great comic. At a certain point, Disney got upset, and they sued or threatened to sue, and Howard had to put on pants. And they had a storyline where this religious organization, it seems like they all wore big smiley faces, and they were trying to get rid of anything offensive. They were upset that Howard the Duck was walking around without any pants on, so they forced him in the comic to put on pants or something. But it was really Disney doing that to them. This, I think, might have been my first Howard the Duck comic that I bought off the stands. Anyway, they even ran him for president, but and then they canceled the comic and they did a black and white, more adult comic where they showed Howard the Duck and his girlfriend Beverly in bed together, and I think they showed her nipples and stuff. It's like, well, here they show her in bed, but he's in a chair. They went a little far with it. There was a really good black and white comic magazine issue where he goes back to his home world, Duck World. Anyway, this is right before Star Wars came out, that Howard the Duck was this big deal. And I think, George Lucas would go into comic stores, and, George Lucas had Marvel doing the Star Wars adaptations, and if nothing else, he saw the Howard the Duck ads in the comic books and probably read some. So I guess he had in the back of his mind that Howard the Duck was this big phenomenon, and so he stuck in his head, and then he made his Star Wars movies, and all three of the classic good Star Wars movies. And then I guess a year or two after the Star Wars movies ended, he made he produced the Howard the Duck movie, and the duck just didn't look right. It was a little midget dwarf little person, and the head didn't look right. Of course, it was wearing pants because the comic had gotten to that point, and I don't know. I just remember the movie being very weak, and came out like the summer of '85, maybe, way too late, and also so that you're even using Howard the Duck in ads for crazy. When it came out, it became just like Howard the Duck became another way of saying failure. It's like when people talk about terrible TV series, they always talk about My Mother the Car, and so it became the My Mother the Car of feature films, and then you just started to realize what's wrong with George Lucas, man. It's in the 20s outside. That's the sound if you're hearing that creaking of the heaters, kind of heating up the house. Yeah, well, anyway, so I love this comic. I bought every issue of it. And I couldn't afford at the time Howard the Duck #1, so that's why I haven't bought it until now. But there was a Treasury edition, a big tabloid-sized, square-bound comic, for those of you that don't know what a Treasury edition is, that came out. And it reprinted Howard the Duck #1, so I guess I was happy with that for many years, that I was able to read the story. There he is running against Gerald Ford and Jimmy Carter. Yeah, I was just thinking about that the other night. Gerald Ford. Yeah, that was something, how they got Gerald Ford in there by impeaching Nixon after they first switched out the vice presidents. Then they impeached Nixon, and then they bring in Gerald Ford, who was part of the Warren Commission. He was a deep stater. Anyway, then Carter got in, and he was a nice guy, but a very weak president. And that's when the prices started going through the roof. Like they are now, except we don't have a nice president now. He's an evil man. The other night he was talking about fentanyl, how many people it's killed during his State of the Union speech, and the Republican side of the House all started booing him and saying, "It's your fault." And then he just goes, "Yes, it is my fault, it is." Anyway, Howard the Duck. Now it's becoming okay to like Howard the Duck again, because that movie just killed the coolness factor of Howard the Duck for decades. And now James Gunn had Howard the Duck at the end. Ooh, this is... Oh. This is my childhood copy. I guess I was a child. How old would I have been in 1976? Okay, I was 11. Yeah, I guess that counts as a child. This is one I got out of like a real cheap bin. It's yes, what else? See, the pages are kind of meh. So I knew that was not my childhood copy. I think this is the first appearance of Kiss, if I'm not mistaken. Um, it's cool. It just looks like a Tomb of Dracula comic. It's in that art style, so it's really cool. It's like a funny animal comic, but it's drawn in this very dark style. It was just oh yeah. Here's the first appearance of Kiss in a comic book, so it's a key issue, ladies and gentlemen. I better get this slabbed, send it off, and have it encased in plastic so I can never open it again. And I guess they continue in this issue. Yeah, how about that? And then they later got their own comic magazine where they went to a printing plant in New Jersey or somewhere and took a little vial of their blood out and dumped it in the red ink in a big press publicity thing, and then it said printed in with real Kiss blood. Of course, this is before AIDS, before Fauci invented that one. Here he is as the son of Satan. They invent it, and then they pretend they're trying to cure it. It's amazing. James O'Keefe, just suddenly, he's the guy that ran Project Veritas. Suddenly it's like, no, he was being ousted, and no one's seen him. So where is he? Yeah, you don't go up against trillion-dollar organizations like Pfister. I won't say the real name. We don't have freedom of speech in this country. Oh yes, boom. And then there's the first issue of Godzilla, which I think I showed you last time. Thrilling. Yes, Howard the Duck. Oh, I think this is the one where the writer, if I'm not mistaken, or was it the artist? Someone didn't meet the deadline, and they had to put the comic out. So they have one page of art, and then it just goes to a text story with it's all text with little illustrations because they just didn't have a finished comic book ready for the presses, and this kind of thing was like very disconcerting. It's like, what? It's like if I don't finish my homework at South Davis Elementary School, I get in trouble. But these, I'm paying 30 cents to read someone that didn't finish their homework in time. Anyway, this is a great comic. So, will Howard the Duck appear? No. Unless he's in the new Guardians movie, that's the last hope of anything good coming from Marvel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As James Gunn is gone like a cool breeze over to DC, and I don't foresee anything good ever coming from the Marvel Cinematic Universe again without a complete halt and new people coming in, because they're completely committed to changing everything around and making it all different and more woke and representative and inclusive and blah blah blah. And I see there's a new Peter Pan movie, and Peter Pan looks like he's of Indian descent, and Tinkerbell is African American, and it's like, of course, you got to make it inclusive, but Tinkerbell's based on Marilyn Monroe. No, why does it have to be that way? Tinkerbell could. No, whatever. This is when they gave Howard the Duck pants, this evil organization. I think they were called Sufi. Yeah, Sufi. I forget what they stand for. Yeah, see, he doesn't have pants here, but they put on pants. How did I find all this out? At the time, I was reading the Comics Journal. I was buying that at Lone Star Comics, and it would give me the real scoop of what was going on behind the scenes in the comic industry. So you read Comics Journal to find all that stuff out. And then in the Warren magazines, there was a guy named James, or was it John? James Branticelli, I think, that did a column on the comics industry, and he would let you know what was really going on behind the scenes. And he had put out a really great magazine. It was a companion piece to the Monster Times earlier on in the 70s. And anyway, this is when Star Wars came out. So Marvel had the rights to Star Wars, so they're not, and they were, they weren't going to worry about George Lucas getting upset. We're up to 24. We're getting close to the Hulk, ladies and gentlemen. 25, which is appropriate since we started the episode looking at Lou Ferrigno in a Star Trek episode. When would you ever think that would happen? 26. Yeah, the fans know how to do it, but you just give people like me what I want. I want it to look exactly like that 1966, 67 TV show. I want it to look exactly like that. The music, the giant hair on the girls, the miniskirts. I don't want anything changed. And I guess he still doesn't have pants on in this issue. When did the pants come on him? Because once the pants were put on him, it changed the look of the character. And he still doesn't have pants here. And once the look of the character changed, it's almost like people lost interest. It's like, imagine, I'm not going to buy that comic anymore because that duck's wearing pants. I want to see his bare ass, man. But, if you read the old EC Mad parody, Harvey Kurtzman's pointing out, why exactly does Donald Duck walk around with no pants? It's like obscene, as Pluto the dog pointed out. Ooh, this art is not good. Who is this artist? Will Mugniot. Will Mugniot. Maybe that needs to be my new Tony Tallarico, my arch enemy artist I don't like. See, because look at that art compared to what we were looking at earlier. That art was great, and oh, look at this. All the Star Wars merchandise you could get. These Heroes Worlds ads were done by students at Joe Kubert's art school. Yeah, what is up with that? He didn't stick with that anyway. Here's the, I'm sure this is a key issue, because it's the first appearance of Iron Duck. Oh, he must have just been a replacement for one issue, because now we're back to the good art. No offense if you are James Mugenot, or whatever his name was. Your art's great. Okay, we're up to 40 cents, because with a Democrat president, the price goes up every few months. That's how it is. Ooh, and then it got bad. Was this the final issue? Yeah, see, look how bad this art is on the cover. That was so disappointing. I remember that. Wait. What? Oh, I see. 31 must have been the last issue. It was a 40-cent comic. And then 32 came out years later, 65 cents. And it says Howard's back, but not for, so, and now see he's got these terrible pants on. It just doesn't look right. So this is when they brought Howard the Duck back, and I guess I bought it to be a completist. The art inside isn't that good. And they've tried bringing Howard the Duck back various times over the years. This is a king-size annual. I think it was the only annual. Oh, and the art is fantastic in this. I'd forgotten. Val Mayrick and Steve Gerber. Is this a reprint? Oh, yeah, it's a reprint. Reprinted at last. Yeah, this is from 1973. This is a early story that was reprinted from, yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's great stuff. Okay, and then they had limited series where they try to bring him back. This is a 2 and a 3 issue limited series, but I don't have the first one. I think I picked this up out of a dollar bin, and the artwork inside is very pedestrian. And what time period is this, man? My eyes get worse every day, I swear to God. Is this the 80s? Hold on a second. I have a magnifying glass in the other room. I think it says 87. Well, laser tag. Sometimes you can just get clues from what the ads are. Yeah. People say the 90s are when everything started to suck. I think they really started to suck in the 80s, but I hear people disagree. But I mean, this is clearly a huge come down from the 70s. What the fuck is. Look at this. That artwork compared to that dense, lush, cool art. Oh, and then they tried to make a dirty Howard the Duck series. This Max, that means that you're going to see nudity and gore and cursing. And they brought back the guys with the bell heads. The artwork actually doesn't seem to be bad. Let's see what's going on here. And it's Steve Gerber is back as the writer. This is a modern comic. This is when they did a remake of Rollerball. See, this is very, very modern. To me, this is like came out last week, but I think it's probably at least 15 years old. So I would buy because I was a huge Howard the Duck fan. They brought it back. I tried to be a loyal fan and pick it up. But see, they turned him into a different kind of animal, so I don't know if he even. Ooh, this art's not as good. What? Yeah, because it's a Max comic, so they're all half naked worshiping Satan. I think Group Therapy podcast just started. Yeah, but they have to do this kind of thing. See, all right, with the tits and stuff. We're almost to the Hulk, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe I should call this episode House of the Hulk and Howard the Duck and the House of Secrets. Maybe that should be the name of the episode. Yeah, I think it was because, like I was saying, the PMRC started putting this warning sticker on the seat. They told the Run DMC and all those evil heavy metal bands, they had to put this warning sticker on their CDs, and the CDs started selling lots more copies because people figure that's where the kids figure that's the good stuff. It's got that warning sticker on it. So these comics started having these warning stickers, and I guess this is the okay. We're in the 2000s now because of the World Trade Center deal. Okay, and then this is out of a dollar bin. I don't know. It's the Return of Bev. And then what else do we have? Another attempt to bring it back. Number 1 of 4. And this must be that same attempt to bring it back. Well, She-Hulk's been thrown on the dung heap along with all the other characters. Like, everyone was so excited about a Moon Knight TV series. It sucked. The She-Hulk TV series, it sucked. She was unattractive. I mean, terrible. So, that's that. You get excited and you buy up the comics. It's like, listen, all these people, they're talking about, they have this new acronym if you watch YouTube. FOMO. I was affected by FOMO. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? FOMO. Is that some disease? FOMO. You look it up. It's fear of missing out. Listen, if you weren't around in the 70s, you missed out. I missed out because I wasn't around in the 60s to pick up the really good stuff. I missed out because I wasn't around in the 50s for the EC and the pre-code horror comics. I missed out because I wasn't around during World War II for those Golden Age comics. But it is fear of missing out bullshit. Okay, so Hulk comics, Silver Age, in another room. Bronze Age, to me, I consider Bronze Age to start when 20 cents started. And you can tell this is probably, I could be wrong, the first 20-cent issue, because 20 cents is huge. And that is basically yelling at the retailer, hey, don't charge 15 cents, charge 20 cents. Or I think the issue before this might have been a 25 center. I don't know. Could be wrong. I'm just guessing. Wait, this is 146. Oh, yeah, see, I'm right. It's out of order. Here's 145. See, it was a quarter. They went from 15 cents. They knew they were going to have to raise the price to 20 cents. So instead, they tried to make it a little thicker and square bound. And they figure maybe kids will pay a quarter for a thicker comic. It didn't work. Both Marvel and DC tried that out. DC tried it a little bit longer. But then they both went back down to 20 cents. So that's 145 and 146. 147. Amazing. You know, you got Herb Trimpe and, well, there's a lot of Marie Severin art in the Hulk comics of this era. I love Marie Severin. But I think this is not Marie Severin, but her brother John Severin, because that, I'm pretty sure that Severin written like that is John Severin's signature. So I think this is Herb Trimpe, maybe pencils, and John Severin inks. Isn't that fantastic? And in this period of the 20-cent era, they called these window boxes. See how the art doesn't extend up underneath the logo. 147. So I'm missing 148 and 149. So I'd like to find those. Someday I might, but you know how it is. Would I rather eat or rather have Hulk 148? I don't know. There's oh, I have two copies of 150. Here's another one. Beautiful cover. 150, 151. Wow. It's just, the comics of this time period are really what evoke that feeling of nostalgia for me, because I was a little kid then. I love the Silver Age, and I think it's fantastic. It doesn't really evoke nostalgia for me because I wasn't aware then. I was born in 65, so when did I first become aware of seeing comics on the newsstand? Probably about 1968, but I was probably looking more at Casper and Wendy and Hot Stuff. 151. When I was in third grade in 1973, I don't know what store we were at, I used to, they were selling t-shirts. There was a t-shirt of this comic cover, and I used to wear it to elementary school, and I had it until a few years ago. It was, of course, way too small for me. I'm going to go on a diet. Both my wife and I are going to start diets. I got to get on a diet. I'm at 249 pounds, and I'm going to... what I probably ought to do is just every episode tell you how much I weigh, and then I can kind of chronicle, my weight loss. It looks like I have bought this 3 times because it, like I say, evokes nostalgia. I didn't have this comic at the time that I was wearing the t-shirt around. All of these Hulk comics I bought at a later time. These were not comics I bought as a kid. I knew of the Hulk. I really liked the Hulk because I think maybe starting around 1970, 71 when we were living in Germany, because like I said, we lived all over the place. My dad was in the Army. On the Armed Services TV station, they would run the old Hulk cartoons and the Captain America cartoons, but only those two. So I would see the Hulk, and boy, does that bring back nostalgic feelings, seeing that Hulk opening credits for that 1966 cartoon. This is the Hulk versus everybody. Looks like I have several copies of this, ladies and gentlemen. The World, My Jury. Again, a wonderful time period. 154. Hell is a very small Hulk. Another copy. And another one. What does this say on there? Small tear on back. Now, this is marked $12, but I think I bought it for half that price. This was not done in a hoarding way. It was done because I didn't remember I owned the comic. And A World He Never Made. That became the slogan for Howard the Duck later. Blitzkrieg, 1972. That would be a great name for a movie. Okay. So anyway, that's 155. This one, everyone was speculating on this about a year or two ago, because supposedly this is the first appearance of a character that Bill Murray is going to play in an Ant-Man movie that's coming out just in a few days. This Friday, that movie's coming out. I haven't heard anything lately about Bill Murray in that. But anyway, supposedly Bill Murray's in that movie. They've had the premiere of the movie, some bad word of mouth about the movie, some people liking it. So anyway, I have 2 copies of that, so I won't have to suffer from FOMO, fear of missing out. Oh man, that's just so horrible. The people that use those acronyms. Pathetic, I tell you. 157. So I need 158, 159, 160, 61, and 162, and then I have 163. What a pathetic collection. Oop, I'm not supposed to do that. Whippet last scolded me on the last video. He just said, stop putting down your collection. It's really wonderful. I don't know. It seems like everybody's got every single issue, and it's like, I paid $3,000 for this one, and this one was, they wanted $14,000, but I kept trying to get them down, so they wouldn't budge from the $14,000 for this issue, so but I later saw it on eBay, and it just had a slight color touch, and so I picked up this one from eBay for only $4,000. It was a bargain. I watch these people on YouTube. It's like, shit, $4,000 is what I paid for my car, man. If I had $4,000 right now. Anyway, I didn't pay $4,000 for that. 168. Some people have a lot more money than the great Gratu, ladies and gentlemen. 169. There's a comic store, Grand Prairie, Texas, just got the big one, the first appearance of Wolverine that isn't really the first appearance of Wolverine. And they're selling it for $2,999.95. So it's good. It's less than $3,000, yes, by 5 cents. when something's a high dollar book like that, do you really think you're fooling someone? You know, if you put $2.99, that might fool someone. Oh yeah, that's great. At least it's not $3. But when something's $3,000 and you reduce it by 5 cents to make people think, well, it's in the $2,000 range for Hulk 180, first appearance of Wolverine. It's not the first appearance of Wolverine. But everyone wants to say it is because people don't read comics anymore. We're getting to that. Yes, indeed, we are. Very close to that. And you're probably wondering, does Gratu have Hulk 181? Of course, some of you longtime viewers know the story on that. 176. Seems like, they'd have value just because they're close to 181. There's 176. Looks like it was marked $10. I don't know if that red sticker up there means half price. I might have gotten it for $5. Duncanville Books. Here's 178. Okay, I don't have 179. Okay, this may be my first Hulk comic, actually. Although I think I had one as a real little kid when I was 5, but I don't know. Maybe not. In what year did this? 25 cents. So I would have been in 4th grade. So when I was homesick, my mom would go out and usually pick up about 3 comic books for me and bring them to me. She just picked comics randomly. I don't know what she based it on. I remember I was sick in 3rd grade. She picked up Amazing Spider-Man. Spider-Man's Caught in a Web. It's the one where I think Peter Parker opens the door to his apartment and it blows up because his roommate, Harry Osborn, had set off a bomb. It was that white cover, I don't know. She picked up that one. She picked up Man-Thing #1, and maybe just those 2. Maybe there was another one she picked up. But when I was sick in 4th grade, she picked up this Hulk 180, which is the first appearance of Wolverine. I mean, they say first appearance in cameo. Well, to me, cameo would be like you see him in silhouette. It's like the whole last page of this. He's, there in the last panel, he's full on charging at you, and it's a full body Wolverine. To me, that's the first appearance. But if you slab this, which is what idiots do, they put it in plastic and put it on their wall. It doesn't have the visual appeal of, you don't see Wolverine fighting the Hulk. You don't even see Wolverine on it. And so it doesn't look cool to, like the people that hunt deer, they want more points on the antlers, it looks cooler on their wall. So, anyway, the next issue has that spectacular red cover where they're fighting, and that's the one that people slab because they don't read comics anymore. They put it on their wall and show it off. So that's the one that's worth a shitload of money. That's the one that they're selling for $3,000, which I think is a good deal. You can look at on Instagram and see a picture of it. It's a good deal to people that have money. It's not a good deal to me. But yeah, that used to be one of my local comic stores back when I lived in the old country. Okay, so I don't have 181, obviously. This is 182. So I don't remember if there's some reference in this to, boy, that sure was rough fighting Wolverine last issue or something. But yeah, whatever, 182. 183. I've shown all these before, but it's been a few years. Here's 183. Ooh, I don't have 184 or 185. Here's 186. How about that? Then I need 187, 188, 189, 190, and then here's 191. Oh, here's another 191 that's not bagged or boarded. Let's take a look at this. Oh my gosh. Look at that goofy looking motherfucker. I knew someone in elementary school that looked exactly like that. Yeah, why don't they put this guy in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? The Triumph of the Toad. Okay, then I'm missing 192. Here's 193. Yeah. And I don't have 194, 195, or 196, but 197 has a spectacular cover. Just really great. There was nothing like this ever in the 1990s or really in the 80s. This is in the mid-70s. Bernie Wrightson, of course. Then you have the big 200th anniversary issue. I have no idea the value of any of these. 197, see, it's still a pure cover without a UPC code. And 197, somewhere between 197 and 200, this started. I believe in maybe early 1977. And really after that, comics just never looked as good anymore, in my opinion. Oh, this bunch of green people here. Orion, people from Orion, right? Orion slave women. 203. Yeah, that episode of Star Trek I was watching, and this Orion slave girl is on board, and the previous owner is trying to reclaim her. It's 205. 209. I think, I'm trying to remember. Shut your mouth, jabroni. See how I get treated by my clock? Shut your mouth, jabroni. Well, the sun is out. It's probably going to be a wonderful day. It's getting up into the 40s today. 209. Yeah, it's like when the TV series started. I think that's when they started making a big deal out of it. I believe this is an early direct distributed comic. Yeah, because I would have been buying these at Lone Star Comics. I did a search yesterday to try to see if there's any photographs online of the original location of Lone Star Comics. I'd just like to have a picture of it. See, it's also got that diamond and wow. Ernie Chan did the inks, so that's why it's so amazing. 212. Yeah, Ernie Chan made the 70s. Was part of what made the 70s so spectacular. He came along in the maybe early to mid 70s. Okay. This is 214. $215. See, these are bags I bought relatively recently, but I didn't understand how to take the strip off. They're self-sealing, but the bags have already kind of gotten all janky. I've got to get my light bags. At some point I'll do that. Okay, here's 217, Circus of Lost Souls. Triumph and Tragedy in the Marvel Manor. Pretty good artwork. Sal Buscema and Ernie Chan inking. That's, like I said, Ernie Chan. Everything he touched turned to gold. There's his little EC signature, which he did for a while. God, this guy was great. Yes, this was a good time period with that Ernie Chan art. Then that Marie Severin period was great too. Look at this, Ernie Chan, 1977, a great purple cover. Everything's great except for this UPC code. If that was gone, it would be all the greater. Here's another one. Amazing. And another one. I guess every time I saw this cover, it was so spectacular. I have to buy that. And then I realized, oh shit, I already own it. Marvel, we're number one. Yeah, Howard the Duck was really a popular character. It's hard for people today to understand that, and Conan was a very popular character. Conan the Barbarian and Howard the Duck were like superstars in the Marvel comics at that time. And everyone forgets that now because... So yeah. Here's 220. When I finish this episode, I'm going to start cleaning up and making this all look better. And then I'm going to do a tour of the house either later today or another copy or tomorrow. Hulk 222. You ever watch Room 222, the TV series? I think... they have episodes of that online, and I saw maybe a few minutes of it when I was a little kid. Now, I'd like to go back, and watch that. Having been, as now having taught for decades, and I'm a retired teacher, I'd like to watch shows about teachers, and that's what that series is about. This is Jim Starlin art, inked by Ernie Chan. No, Alfredo Alcala, who's another great Alfredo Alcala. See, when they have the Marvel heroes, who's front and center? Conan, because he was a big seller. And this ad, you can get what is that exactly? They're maps of the world of Conan. How about that? 222. 226. How much time do I have? A little bit. 226. Beautiful cover. Ernie Chan, 1978. Oh, yes. What did I just see? Oh, yeah, look at this. Red Sonja's right there with the big guys. But then Marvel lost the Robert E. Howard license. Oh, man. Burger King, I hear it's like real close to going under. Hold the pickles, hold the lettuce. Special orders don't upset us. All we ask is that you let us have it your way. Have it your way at Burger King. Burger King is similar tasting to the food of Burger Chef, which was a somewhat regional restaurant that I remember from second grade when we lived in Virginia. Burger Chef was fantastic. And all the toys and little... gimmicks and stuff that they gave to kids were incredible, and they were monster oriented, and but it was the same charbroiled flavor. Great. At least it was great to me as a second grader. And Burger King is similar to it. I don't know where the nearest Burger King is. I guess if I drove to Des Moines, there would be a Burger King, but unless they closed it. 2:30. Oh yeah, by now it's Marvel's TV sensation. It was on. I was talking to my wife last night while we were eating at a restaurant about The Fugitive, explaining the concept of the TV series The Fugitive, and telling her it was very similar to the Incredible Hulk TV show, except You know, at the end of every episode of The Fugitive, you know, he'd have some situation where the fact that he was a doctor, he'd have to help someone, and then everyone would say, he must be a doctor, and then he'd have to scram, and then the Barry Morse would, you know, the detective would be on his, you know, following him. And it's very similar to the Hulk. You know, there's a detective following him, or a private investigator, or whatever. I don't remember. And of course, he would have to. Of course, he was a doctor, and then he also had the anger issue, right? So this issue has some value. It's the first appearance of Zingbot or something, or first. Fucking, I think it's the first appearance of a character that nobody cares about, like Patootie or something like that. One of those minor characters. I hate to be like, I paid $6,000 for this book. It's the first appearance of, I can't remember, but I read it on the Key Collector app. I don't remember, man. This has been decades. At least I bought it when I was a kid, and I just don't remember. As opposed to buying it last week, and I don't remember, because I just can't remember what the Key Collector app said. The Key Collector app lets me know what comics to buy. Just buy things when they're cool. Buy things that you like. Stop with this fear of missing out bullshit. Don't spend more than $100 on a comic, man, unless it's just... Are you out of your fucking mind? The whole economy is about to collapse. Take that money and put it on your mattress, man. We're about to be living like the Road Warrior. That's what they're gearing up for. Just yesterday or last night, what? They shot down something over Alaska, some Chinese... I mean, they're gearing up, you know, for another war with China over Taiwan, you know. How many copies of this freaking thing do I have? Here's another 236. Oh, it's got Machine Man in it. There's an ad for the Micronauts. Yeah, around this time there was a lot of licensing from Marvel. I was talking about Shogun Warriors and Godzilla last time, but I forgot to mention Micronauts, which was a good series, at least at the beginning. And what was the other good series that was licensed? It was a crummy looking... I didn't think the toy looked good, but I love the comic. ROM, the Space Knight. I didn't think it was a very attractive looking toy, but the series was good. And those are comics that you're never going to have in the omnibus format, because they can't reprint them because they're owned in part by toy companies. And so the Micronauts introduced the microverse, and then they can't use the microverse in the movies, so they have to change it and call it the Quantum Realm. It's all convoluted. 239. This is not an Ernie Chan cover. I think he would have been able to get the presidents to look a little bit better there. They look a little sad. And their faces are really, it looks like they're really having to cram their faces in together, like they're making out with each other to fit in this stupid UPC code. Yeah, they're really invading each other's personal space on that cover. Another copy of Marvel's TV sensation. Yes, indeed. Yeah, panels are starting to get too spaced out, not enough words in the balloons. Okay, 245. Here's Star Trek music coming from downstairs, and there's the Star Trek movie. And here's a thick issue 250. It's square bound. Why is this issue thicker, I wonder? I don't know. Oh, here's another copy of that issue, bagged and boarded, for those of you that freak out seeing someone handle their comics. So 250, and then I'm missing 7 issues. And then I come to 258. 259. Another 259. You don't need to see it again. I'm missing 280, 281. Here's 282. 283. Look at the Hulk's head there. Okay. 284. Okay, this is newsstand. Everyone's, oh, I'm so excited, I got a newsstand copy. This is what it looked like if you bought it at a comic store. And then the Spider-Man. Whoop, that's actually a different issue. Oh well. Follow the leader. I thought it was the same issue. 284. Okay. 285. 290. Have you ever owned a pair of purple pants? Where did you buy all those pairs of purple pants, man? 310. Looking a little sword and sorcery like with little fairy looking creatures. Here's 311. 314. Another copy of 314. 315. I don't really like that cover. 316. This. Another 316. This is The Return of the Gray-Skinned Goliath in issue 324. And then the anniversary issue, 325, anniversary of Marvel, the 25th anniversary of Marvel, of the Silver Age return of Marvel. I mean, Marvel had been around much longer than that. A hideous looking cover that people love because it's Todd McFarlane, but it just to me looks like you're looking at a close-up of somebody's testicles or something. I don't know. But McFarlane is a loved and well-respected artist, and I have several copies of that issue. This was given to me as a present by a local wrestler back in Texas who was really into the Hulk, and he came to some of my parties, and he